How are you all doing today? Today, we're going to be demonstrating how to calibrate a force probe. This is important and you're going to need to know how to do it. So are you ready? Good. Okay, so this is a force probe. Okay? It's called a force sensor. This is the cord cable we're going to need. Now we're going to use the Logger Pro to hook it up, just like we hooked up the motion detector, but there's a little bit of difference. First we have this thing here, has to attach to the end here. It only attaches one way. You'll see it when you start hooking up. Boom, like this, and then it hooks up. Now, Hanley, could you come here please for a minute? We're going to demonstrate how you hook it up to the Logger Pro. Could you take this and connect it to the Logger Pro, please? Right there. Don't try too hard. What's the matter, Hangley? It doesn't fit. And if it doesn't fit, you must acquit. Now, try the other side. That worked, didn't it? Didn't it? Thank you, Hangley. This side is channel 1. The motion detectors all go on the other side. So how do we calibrate? Well, why do we calibrate? First of all, this puts out a voltage. We're interested in a force. We have to be able to convert the voltage into a force. Now, what kind of voltage does it put out? That depends on what range we put it at. Just focus with me for now. Okay? So this has got two ranges. It's called a dual range force probe. Plus or minus 10 newtons, plus or minus 50 newtons. Most of the time, we will be working in the plus or minus 50 newton range, although sometimes we'll do it in plus or minus 10. So if you get one of these force probes and it says to use it in the plus or minus 10 newton range, you want to make sure that it doesn't have a sticker on here saying does not work in plus or minus 50 newton range or whatever. You know, you see what I mean? Okay, so we're going to put it in the plus or minus 50 newton range. Now, one thing to be careful of is there's a little button on the side here. Don't hit the button. It'll screw things up. Okay. So calibrating the force probe. The way you calibrate any of these things is you put a known force on them. Now, where are we going to get a force that doesn't change? It's always constant. I know. Let's use gravity. What we have here is a 1 kilogram weight. Its mass is 1 kilogram. So what is its weight? Weight is a force. It's going to be equal to the mass times gravity. So we have 1 kilogram times gravity, which is 9.8. So this has a weight of 9.8 newtons, which is a force. I know sometimes we mix up mass and weight, but in terms of the force, this one here has a force of 9.8 newtons down. All the time. Not just on Fridays, by the way. Okay, so if we open up Logger Pro, and interestingly enough, okay, there we go. We're going to use 4A, 2B to do the calibration. Now, how do we calibrate it? We go to Experiment, Calibrate, Experiment, Calibrate, and then we select the dual range force. Again, we check to see we're in plus or minus 15 newton range. Good, plus or minus 15 newton range. And now it says, it's got all these choices we have to make. The first thing you want to do is change this one here from force 50 newton experimental file to force 50 newton computer. Okay? Now, we have a button here that says Calibrate Now. This might be a good time to calibrate. Hangley, could you come here again? How do we calibrate? We need two known forces. Could you hold this? Hangley, can you tell me, don't know yet. This is where the force probe hangs. This is where the force is applied, right at the bottom here. Can you tell me what the force is that's being applied to that hook right now? Can you give it a number? That's the acceleration. Not. Look at the camera too. Smile. All right. But what's the force? Force is equal to mass times gravity. So what's the mass hanging off this hook right now? What?
0.
Tell the
0.
0. All right, so what's the force?
0. 0.
Don't tell me, tell the camera. Okay, so we have a force of 0 on it right now. We can use that. So we'll do it. We'll hit the button that says calibrate now. And it says enter value in data units. So it wants how many newtons are we applying to it right now, which is,
0.
tell the camera.
0.
That's better. All right, and then we hit, if you look up here, it's got a voltage reading of 2.5 volts. That's good. We hit keep. All right, now we want to put another known force on it. This is a 1 kilogram weight. So mass times gravity. Come on, you can hold, don't drop it or it's going to land on my leg. That would be bad. You failed the class. All right, what's the force on it now?
The weight.
Well, not the weight, it's the mass times g. The mass is 1 kilogram, and g is 9.8, so 1 times 9.8 is?
9.8.
Tell the camera.
9.8.
Very good. So now, if you look at it, it says 2.01 volts. All right, so it's changed the voltage. So 2.5 volts was equivalent to 0, and 2.01 volts is equivalent to 9.8. And we hit keep, and then we're done, so we hit the done button. Okay, now it's time for the sanity check. Now, if this was a real sanity check involving psychologists, I know that most of you would probably fail. But we're not going to do that. If you look at the top screen, right up here in this corner, next to the little Logger Pro icon, you see it says force equals, and it's reading 0. Well, what do you know? We're not hanging anything off of it right now. It says 0. Now we'll take this back up here. And you know what it says? 9.9. So we got a good calibration. You can just do it that way. Real simple. All right. So now it's ready to use. So, but are we ready to use it? No, not quite. Because there's one more thing you need to do with a force probe before you can use it. And that is, this is also very sensitive to the orientation you hold it in. So for example, it should be reading 0 right now. And if I lay it down, all of a sudden it's reading 0.3. So all the measurements are going to be off by 0.3. Well, how can we correct for this awful error? Oh no! Can we? Yes, we can. And it's pretty easy. And this is what you have to learn. And this is very important, and it is going to be on the first exam. And probably on the second exam, too. So, what you have to do is you have to zero the force probe. This is not the same thing as calibrating, it is zeroing. And the direction that you zero the force probe in is the direction that you are going to use it. So if I ask you, which I will, in what direction do you zero a force probe? The correct answer is in the direction you are going to use it. So let's all say it together, right? Let's all say it together, right? I'm going to say, in what direction do you zero the force probe? Wait a second. Let me get everybody here. Hey, everybody, come on over here. Come on over here. We're going to do this all together. So I'm going to ask a question, and you guys are all going to answer it, all right? And this is going to be on the test. So you really want to know this answer, too, right? And the question is, in what direction do you zero a force probe? And the answer is, in the direction you are going to use it, all right? So, everybody ready? In what direction do you zero a force probe?
In the direction you're going to use it.
All right, now again, but this time with bigger. In what direction do you zero a force probe?
In the direction you're going to use it.
All right, now we'll do it chanting. In what direction do you zero a force probe?
In the direction you're going to use it.
All right. Now, that question is going to be on the first test. And the deal is, if everybody gets it right, then it won't be on the second test. I've had this deal going since 2006. It's always been on the second test. Somebody always gets it wrong. Don't let it be you, because I will laugh at you.
What was it again?
Let's try it one more time. In what direction do you zero a force probe?
In the direction you're going to use it.
Thank you very much. Now, how do you zero a force probe? Well, first of all, you put it in the direction you are going to use it. For example, let's say we're going to use it horizontally. We put it horizontal. experiment, 0. And now, it asks you what you want to 0. We'll 0 the force probe. And if you look at this now, it says 0. Okay, you can also hit this 0 icon at the top here. So remember, what direction do you 0 force probe? In the direction you are going to use it. All right, cut.